My dear friends, I'm Dr. David. For more than 30 years, I've worked in major hospitals across the United States, places where I've seen how life can change in a single morning, even for people who seem perfectly healthy. I still remember one Monday morning clearly. A 62-year-old man named Robert was rushed into the emergency room. He was an engineer, active, walking every morning, eating relatively healthy. But that day he woke up and realized his right arm wouldn't move. His wife said, "I heard him call me, but his voice sounded strange." I knew something was terribly wrong. It was a stroke. Just a few minutes, but enough to change the rest of his life. Every year, more than 15 million people worldwide suffer a stroke. 6 million don't survive, and millions more live with permanent disabilities, losing their ability to walk, speak, or even care for themselves. In the U.S. alone, there are nearly 800,000 cases a year. That means every 40 seconds, someone has a stroke, and every 3.5 minutes, someone dies from it. What troubles me most is this: the majority of strokes can be prevented. Yes, nearly 80% of all strokes are avoidable if we understand our bodies and pay attention to the small signals they send us. But sadly, most people don't notice. We assume stroke happens only to someone else, an old frail person, or someone with poor habits. But that's not the truth. I've treated patients in their early 50s, non-smokers, not overweight, just people who were too busy to get checked. I want you to imagine this. Your brain is like a city. Each blood vessel is a road carrying oxygen and nutrients to every corner. And a stroke happens when one of those main roads gets blocked. Within minutes, the cells in that area begin to suffocate. This isn't just about medical terms or numbers. It's about real-life memories, smiles, voices, and the people we love. I didn't make this video to scare you. I made it to help you understand, because stroke isn't destiny. It's often the result of small habits repeated over time. And today we're going to explore the first cause: blood vessels, and blood pressure, where everything begins. I'll explain why high blood pressure is called the silent killer, and how just a few simple changes in lifestyle can protect you and the ones you love. Are you ready? Then let's begin. When people hear the word stroke, most imagine someone collapsing because blood didn't reach the brain. But in reality, there are two very different types of strokes, and understanding them is the key to prevention and early detection. Think of your body as a vast city, with the brain as the control center where every signal, memory, and emotion is connected. To keep that city alive, thousands of roads, your blood vessels, deliver oxygen and nutrients to every cell. When one of those roads is blocked or bursts, the whole system falls apart. That's when a stroke strikes. Type 1 ischemic stroke. This is the most common kind, accounting for nearly 85% of all cases. It occurs when a blood clot or fatty plaque blocks blood flow to the brain. Imagine watering your garden. If the hose gets clogged, your plants wilt within minutes. The brain is no different. When blood stops flowing, brain cells begin to die within 4 or 5 minutes. I remember one of my patients, Linda, age 59. She came in because her face felt slightly numb and her speech was slurred. We performed an MRI and found that a small vessel in her brain was almost completely blocked. She was lucky we caught it early and dissolved the clot in time. Just a few hours later, the outcome could have been paralysis. Ischemic strokes often come quietly, no pain, no warning, but if ignored, they can leave devastating effects. Type 2 hemorrhagic stroke. This is less common, only about 15% of cases, but far more deadly. It happens when a blood vessel in the brain ruptures, causing bleeding and pressure that destroys nearby cells. I once treated a 67-year-old man with blood pressure of 200/110. He kept saying, "I'm fine, just a little tired." That evening, he collapsed in his living room. The CT scan showed a ruptured vessel in his brain. Within minutes, his life and his family's changed forever. AOI. Hemorrhagic stroke is like an overinflated water balloon. When the pressure gets too high, it bursts. And the main culprit, high blood pressure, that quiet, familiar enemy we often ignore. I'm sharing these stories not to make you afraid, but to help you understand your body more deeply. Because when we understand, fear fades and we gain the power to prevent. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into that first cause, high blood pressure, and why it's called the silent killer, the invisible force that slowly damages your blood vessels year after year. My dear friends, a stroke never happens overnight. It's the result of years of small habits that seem harmless, repeated day after day, week after week, year after year. I often Tell my patients your body never betrays you. It only sends out signals for help, and sometimes you're just too busy to listen. Over the past 30 years, I've met so many people who said, "Doctor, I eat normally, I go to work sometimes, my hand feels a little numb, or I get dizzy, and then suddenly I had a stroke." But stroke doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It begins within in your blood vessels, your heart, your lifestyle. If your body were a river, your blood vessels would be the small streams that nourish every field. When the water's clear, the flow is strong. But when mud and debris build up, the current slows, the water darkens, and eventually it clogs. Our brain works the same way. When blood flow is blocked or ruptured, things collapse. From a medical view, there are three main causes behind a stroke. First, vascular and blood pressure, the root of most strokes. When blood vessels weaken or get damaged by constant pressure or fat buildup, the brain loses nourishment. You might not feel it, but inside, vessels lose elasticity like old pipes that crack under pressure. Second, heart and metabolism. The heart is your central pump. If it beats irregularly or blood pools, clots can form and travel to the brain. Add diabetes, obesity, and high cholesterol, and over time they become tiny drops that overflow the cup. Finally, lifestyle and environment. Smoking, drinking, eating salty foods, stress, lack of sleep, little exercise, they seem harmless, but they silently fuel stroke risk each day. I once treated a woman named Margaret, 65. She didn't smoke, wasn't overweight, but lived under stress for 20 years. She stayed up late, skipped meals, and rarely had checkups. One morning she collapsed. When she woke, half her body was paralyzed. Margaret didn't get a stroke. In one day she raised it for 2 decades without knowing. I'm not telling you this to scare you, but to remind you that stroke isn't fate. It's the result of choices. Choices of habit and lifestyle. And next we'll explore the first cause, high blood pressure, the silent killer, and how small daily changes can protect you. If there's one silent enemy in medicine, it's high blood pressure. It doesn't hurt or make a sound, but quietly, day after day, it damages your vessels like drops of water eroding stone. I remember a patient named Evelyn, 63. She exercised, ate healthy, only felt mild dizziness. Her blood pressure was 178/96. She smiled, "I'm just stressed." Today, 3 weeks later, she had a minor stroke, weakness, slurred speech, blurred vision. In the U.S., over 120 million adults live with high blood pressure, and more than half don't know it. It's called the silent killer because it shows no symptoms until it's too late. It's like a water pipe under constant pressure. The flow weakens, walls, cracks. Then leaks appear. Our vessels are the same, stiffening, losing flexibility until one spike causes a rupture or blockage. High blood pressure doesn't just harm the brain. It destroys the heart, kidneys, and eyes like a house decaying from within. I tell my patients blood pressure isn't just a number, it's a message. It says your vessels are stressed, your heart is overworked, your body needs rest and care. The good news, it can be controlled, not just with medicine, but with lifestyle, nutrition, and daily habits. The first step is awareness. Check your blood pressure at home morning and night. Make it a ritual of self-care. Once you start observing, you've already gone halfway to prevention. Next, I'll share ways to prevent and manage high blood pressure through simple foods, mindful routines, and small choices repeated every day. Are you ready? Let's continue together. My dear friends, when people hear the words high blood pressure, many immediately think of medication. But the truth is, medicine controls numbers, not causes. What truly restores balance is lifestyle, small daily choices more powerful than prescriptions. I remember a patient, Thomas, 67. His pressure was 165/95. He took meds, but still felt tired and dizzy. I told him, "Thomas, let's heal through living, not just through pills." 3 simple steps change his life. 6 months later, his blood pressure dropped to 126/78. He slept better and felt renewed. Step 1, eat less salt, more greens. Salt is a double-edged friend. Too much forces kidneys to overwork and raises pressure. Most Americans eat 3 or 4 times too much from canned foods and sauces. Replace salt with garlic, ginger, lemon, pepper, basil, oregano. Eat bananas, avocados, spinach, almonds, and salmon-rich in potassium and magnesium to relax vessels and balance pressure. Step 2, move every day, even for 30 minutes. No need for marathons or gyms. Just walk briskly, cycle lightly, or breathe mindfully. Movement trains the heart, keeps vessels flexible, and releases pressure. Your body is like a car, I tell patients. If you never drive it, the oil thickens. The engine rusts. Step 3. Manage stress and sleep. Stress doesn't kill fast, it erodes you slowly. It raises cortisol, speeding the heart-tightening vessels, raising blood. Pressure, rest deeply. Listen to music, turn off the TV, sit quietly, breathe. Sleep 7 or 8 hours, the cheapest medicine few take. Remember, your body always seeks balance. Just help. It's slow down, eat better, love yourself more. Next, we'll explore the second cause, atherosclerosis, and why high cholesterol and plaque are slow bombs inside the body. If high blood pressure is pressure from within, atherosclerosis is debris on the road. Together, they create a perfect storm that can destroy brain tissue in minutes. Your body has thousands of small roads, blood vessels delivering oxygen to every cell. Over time, too much fried food, red meat, butter, or sugar lets LDL cholesterol stick to the walls like mud in pipes. It thickens slowly, narrowing arteries and raising pressure. One day a piece breaks off, travels to the brain, and blocks blood flow in ischemic stroke. Peter, 60. A chef, loved his food. No smoking, no alcohol, but salty meals and little exercise. One day he collapsed. His carotid artery was 70% blocked, 20 years of plaque. Doctor, he asked, could I have done anything differently? I said, just start 5 years earlier. Love your heart sooner. Atherosclerosis is chronic inflammation. Bad cholesterol seeps into vessel walls, triggering inflammation. The body patches it with fat and calcium, making arteries stiffer. Remember 3 numbers: LDL low, HDL high, triglycerides under 150. The danger isn't speed, but silence. It grows quietly, stealing flexibility until one day blood stops. But good news, with proper lifestyle and nutrition, plaque can stop, even reverse. Next, I'll share how to clear the roads inside your body with habits, foods, and movement that keep blood flowing like in your 20s. My dear friends, when people hear the words atherosclerosis, many assume it's irreversible, that once arteries are blocked, hope is gone. But trust me, I've seen hundreds of patients change their destiny simply by changing their way of living. The human body is far more miraculous than we think. It knows how to heal, if only you give it the chance. I remember a woman named Linda, 61 years old. When she came to me, her carotid artery was 60% blocked and her LDL cholesterol was dangerously high. She asked, doctor, is there anything I can do besides taking pills? I told her, yes, Linda, let your food become your medicine. And she did. She started having oatmeal for breakfast, replaced red meat with salmon and mackerel, and added green vegetables and citrus fruits to her meals. 3 months later, her cholesterol dropped by over 30% and her artery blood flow improved significantly. There was no miracle, just persistence and love for her own body. 1. Nutrition cleansing from within. Food can be medicine or poison depending on your choice. Choose foods that help cleanse your arteries. Dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, and broccoli, full of antioxidants that reduce inflammation. Fiber-rich fruits like apples, oranges, grapefruits, and blueberries that lower bad cholesterol. Olive oil, flax seeds, almonds, and avocados that raise protective HDL cholesterol. And reduce the foods that damage your arteries: red meat, butter, fried food, fast food, and refined sugar. These aren't evil, but if they're daily, your body will pay the price. 2. Movement, let the blood flow. You don't need to train hard. Just 30 minutes of brisk walking or gentle yoga each morning boosts circulation, reduces inflammation, and helps clear cholesterol. Naturally, I often say, if you want smooth vessels, let your blood flow through your own steps. 3. Lifestyle. Keep the heart calm. Stress is fuel for atherosclerosis. Anger and anxiety release hormones that tighten arteries and thicken the blood. So learn to relax through breathing, music, tea, or simply sitting quietly watching the sunset. Sometimes peace itself is the strongest medicine. Remember this: every meal, every walk, every peaceful breath is an act of love for your arteries. You don't have to change everything in one day. Start small today. Every good choice, no matter how small, gives your blood a little more freedom to flow. In our final part, I'll help you turn understanding into action so you not only prevent stroke, but live fully, healthily, and peacefully every day. My dear friends, if you've listened this far, I know you don't just want to live longer. You want to live better, calmer, and with meaning. I've always believed that stroke isn't the end. It's your body's way of saying it's time to live differently. slower, gentler, with more care. Over 30 years in medicine, I've seen loss, but I've also seen so much rebirth. I've met people who could barely walk after a stroke, and now they stand again thanks to faith, discipline, and the love of their families. I've seen patients once dependent on medication, but after lifestyle changes, their blood pressure, cholesterol, sleep, and spirit all improved. That's why I believe everyone can rewrite their health story. No one is too late to start. No one is too weak to change. You see, stroke isn't a disease of old age. It's a disease of neglect. It happens when we know we need rest but stay up late. When we know we should move but sit for hours. When we know to eat clean but choose fast and easy. So I'm not asking you to fight aging. I'm asking you to walk with it, but with a new mindset. Respect your body. Listen to it and nourish it with kindness. Do one small thing today. When this video ends, check your blood pressure or call a loved one and ask if they know theirs. That small act might save a life. If you found this video meaningful, please subscribe. Let's walk this journey of health together. If my words helped you understand or love yourself a little more, click like, share this video, or comment. I'm starting my new journey today. I read every message, every story, and your journey inspires me to keep going. In our next video, we'll talk about the second cause of stroke: heart and metabolic issues, atrial fibrillation, diabetes, obesity, and how we can heal from within. But today, remember, your body is the only home you truly own. Care for it like a garden, patiently, daily, with love. Thank you for being here with me. I'm Dr. David, and I believe health isn't a destination, it's the journey you choose every day.